Shane Van Gisbergen didn't just win in Chicago, he survived it. What unfolded at the NASCAR Chicago Street Course wasn't just a race, it was a high-stakes chess match wrapped in smoke, split-second decisions, and a finish that's left fans divided, drivers frustrated, and NASCAR's rulebook under a burning spotlight. Let's rewind. The weather for once wasn't the problem. No torrential rain, no lightning strikes, no event cancellations like in 2023. The skies over Chicago were clear, but on the track, chaos brewed from lap 1. New Zealand's Shane Van Gisbergen, SVG for short, entered this weekend with one mission: prove he's not just a one-off road ringer. He didn't just prove it, he made history. After sweeping both the Xfinity and Cup Series races from the pole, SVG cemented himself as the most successful foreign-born driver in NASCAR Cup Series history. Only Kyle Busch had pulled off that kind of weekend domination before, and that was back in 2016. But SVG's win isn't what's driving headlines. It's how he won. Let's talk about turn 6. Final lap, SVG out front. Cody Ware crashes hard into the tire barrier. It's not a light tap. There's smoke, impact, debris. A crash big enough to draw immediate attention from race control. Everyone's watching. The cameras cut to it. Commentators acknowledge it, but the caution doesn't come. Not yet. NASCAR waits. SVG crosses the line, takes the white flag, and then the caution comes out, ending the race under yellow. If that caution had been thrown even 5 seconds earlier, we would have seen a green-white checkered finish, a 2-lap shootout, and with Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, and a storm of adrenaline right behind him, there's no telling who would have emerged from that sprint. But NASCAR's timing sealed the result. SVG wins. Everyone else wonders what could have been. And the fallout? Immediate. Ty Gibbs, who finished second, didn't hide his frustration. "I would have been all for that. I don't know if it should have been thrown, but that would have been awesome." Translation: he wanted another shot, but NASCAR made sure he didn't get one. Tyler Reddick, who finished third, was more direct. He said the timing of the call felt convenient and speculated that NASCAR was trying to beat the weather. Clouds and fog were moving in, and last year's race was nearly wiped out by lightning. But is that a good enough reason to change the way you officiate a race? Because here's the issue: consistency. Fans aren't just mad that SVG won, they're mad that the rulebook feels flexible. They're mad that sometimes NASCAR throws a yellow flag immediately when a car gets loose, and other times, like this, it waits for the leader to lock up the win. This wasn't a minor judgment call, this was a game changer. The crash was real, the smoke was obvious, the footage is undeniable. So why wait? What's worse, this isn't a one-time issue. NASCAR has struggled with late race caution consistency for years. We've seen races flipped upside down by well-timed yellows, and others sealed by silence when action was clearly warranted. It's not just the fans who are upset. Drivers are losing trust. And when drivers start second-guessing whether the rules apply equally, you've got a systemic problem. But turn 6 wasn't the only controversy of the day. Let's go back to lap 59. Chase Briscoe was battling hard, trying to hold off SVG. It was intense, and right as SVG made the move to take the lead, NASCAR threw the caution. Not for a crash, not for debris, for an ambulance. Yes, a spectator had a medical emergency, and the ambulance needed to exit the track. Nobody's questioning the seriousness of that moment. Safety should always come first. But the timing? It felt off, awkward, suspicious even. Why throw that caution the second SVG took the lead? Why not before? Why not after? Fans noticed. Teams noticed. People started connecting dots. Was race control making real-time decisions based on optics? Based on weather? Based on who was leading? That's not how sports should work, and it doesn't end there. Earlier in the race, lap 3, we had an absolute wreckfest. 8 cars involved, the track blocked, red flag immediately. Big-name drivers were out before the race even settled in. Brad Keselowski, Daniel Suarez, Todd Gilliland, done. And that was after William Byron, the current points leader, was taken out on lap 1 due to a mechanical failure. His clutch gave out before he had a chance to fight. So by the time we reached the final laps, we were already looking at a depleted field. Michael McDowell had led early but dropped out with mechanical issues. Briscoe was strong until SVG passed him with an aggressive move in turn 4, and from there, it was SVG's race to lose. Until turn 6 gave NASCAR a decision to make, and they made one that now has the sport under fire. But that wasn't the only moment that made fans scratch their heads. A tire carcass, a full chunk of rubber, was left sitting on the racing line for 2 full laps in a high-speed section of the course. How does that happen? If the rules say safety is the #1 priority, why leave a potential hazard sitting on track while cars are flying past at over 100 miles per hour? Every delay, every inconsistency, every delay in the yellow flag adds up, and fans aren't buying the weather excuse anymore. They want accountability, transparency, structure, and that's not what they got. Post-race emotions boiled over. Joey Logano was livid. He got into a shouting match with Ross Chastain in the paddock, shoving, words exchanged. Team members intervened, and the source? A chain reaction bump in the closing laps. Street courses are narrow. There's no breathing room. Drivers are constantly rubbing doors, slamming fenders, and waiting for someone to step out of line. That's fine, if they know the rules are being applied evenly. But after 75 laps of physical racing, indecisive officiating, and timing that didn't sit right, the post-race chaos felt inevitable. And now, NASCAR has a serious problem on its hands: trust. Fans aren't stupid. They saw what happened. They replayed the video. They know how long it took to throw the yellow. They know what 5 seconds can mean. And they're asking the question NASCAR doesn't want to answer. Would they have made the same call if someone else was leading? If it was Ty Gibbs? Tyler Reddick? Chase Elliott? That's where the doubt creeps in. Not because SVG didn't earn the win, he absolutely did, but because fans believe the system didn't apply the rules consistently. And that's deadly for a sport built on credibility. So what now? Does NASCAR own the delay and explain the reasoning? Do they overhaul how late race cautions are handled? Do they clarify the protocol to avoid this in the future? Or do they bury it? Hope it fades? Because here's the reality. If nothing changes, the next controversy will be worse. The stakes will be higher. The backlash louder. NASCAR has one job: make the racing competitive and fair. When that slips, the sport suffers. The drivers feel it, the fans feel it, and no number of highlight reels or social media posts can patch over a broken system. Shane Van Gisbergen drove a masterclass. His skill, his composure, and his daring pass on Briscoe were all championship-caliber moments. But this win now lives in a gray area, not because of anything SVG did wrong, but because NASCAR blinked when it mattered most. So what do you think? Did NASCAR rob fans of a proper finish, or did they do what they had to do? Let us know in the comments, because this conversation is far from over, and if NASCAR doesn't fix the cracks in its foundation soon, the next finish line may be even harder to believe.